Hey friends, it's Kelly Martin here, and I am just so excited to be spending a few minutes with you all today as a guest here on the Stamp Market YouTube channel. And many thanks to Amy for her super kind invitation to me to be here with you all and share a project I made using some of the products from the October release. And when I first saw the holiday greenery die, I knew I wanted to make a wreath with it, so that's what I'm going to be showing you today. So I first cut out a bunch of pieces using the smaller die, and then I went ahead and blended some ink onto the edges of the die cut pieces. This is going to help bring a lot of life and dimension to your individual wreath pieces. So I highly recommend applying ink onto the edges of your pieces because it's really going to make those pieces pop off the card base and look a lot more lifelike. And another piece of advice I have for you is to go ahead and cut more die cut pieces than you even think you're going to need, because that way you'll have them on hand, and as you're in the middle of assembling your wreath, if you run out of pieces, then it's kind of a hassle to try to go and cut more. So at the beginning of the process, again, cut more than you think you'll need, and you'll be glad you did that later. So after I was finished applying ink onto the edges of all of these pieces, I just set them aside to kind of dry for a little bit and then moved on to the next step. I cut down a piece of patterned paper that I had in my stash, and I love this particular patterned paper because it looks like a wood grain panel, and I thought that that would be a really cool contrast against this dark green color of the wreath. So I was really excited to use this and see how it would come together. So the next thing I did was I applied glue onto all of the leaf pieces of the wreath. Now you can see that I didn't glue the entire back of the leaf piece. I actually just glued like the centers and down the middle of the leaf piece. And that is because, you'll see me do this a little bit later, but that's because I wanted to fluff the edges of the leaves up a little bit to stand up off of the card. So that's why you only want to glue down that middle line that goes down the center of the leaf piece and then going a little bit into the bottom parts of the leaf. That way your leaf pieces will be anchored to the card base, but you'll still have the flexibility to kind of move the leaves around and make them pop up a little bit. So you can see that I finished laying the pieces down in a circle pattern. And then I went ahead and actually cut another color of cardstock, the same number of leaf pieces, but from a lighter color so that I could have that added dimension and pop of color. At first I was kind of not sure how this was going to turn out, but then at the end I was super pleased with the result. I love the color of that darker green on the bottom of the lighter green. And again, applying the ink onto the edges of the leaves really helps to make a statement and helps those leaves to stand out. Now, remember that piece of advice I gave you about cutting more than you needed? Well, when I was cutting the light green pieces, I realized I needed a few more, so I had to go off screen and cut a couple more. So now you're going to see me fluffing the leaf pieces. This makes me laugh because every year when we decorate our tree at my parents' house, my sister and I have this long running joke that the tree always has to be fluffed. And I am not a good tree fluffer, that is for sure. So ever since I've been married, my husband has been the tree fluffer. And when we all go to my parents' house to decorate their tree, my sister still fluffs the branches on their Christmas tree too. So you can see that I'm applying these red enamel dots. This is a great product that the Stamp Market came out with recently, and I'm really glad for how it adds that pop of color to the wreath. I die cut this holiday greetings sentiment from the Holiday Greetings die set. I actually cut 3 out and glued them together, and then glued them down onto my card. So after I was finished die cutting the sentiment and gluing it onto the card panel here, I went ahead and pressed it really firmly down onto the panel so that it would stay put and I wouldn't have any issues with it shifting. And after I was done with the panel, I glued it onto a cut and scored 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card base made out of white cardstock. Thank you so much for joining me today. I had such a good time sharing this wreath with you, and I really hope that you will give this a try. And I love this wreath die because you can use it for all kinds of seasons. I plan to use this wreath die to make some spring cards in a couple months, so I'm really excited to see how those are going to turn out. If you're interested in following my crafty adventures on Instagram or my blog or my personal YouTube channel, I've provided links in the description for you to be able to find those. Also, if you're interested in the products I used and checking them out further, I have put links in the video description below. Be sure to let me know if you have any questions about my card, and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks again for stopping by, and have a great day.